Hi. Almost everyone watches me without a subscription. Please support my channel with a subscription. I try for you. Thank you.
Story 1. OOP finds out her sex life with her husband is based on porn scenes. I'm 33F and I've been with 33M for 12 years, married for 6. We got together young but both had fairly equal experiences before our relationship and have gone through a lot together. Our relationship has had its ups and downs, but nothing extraordinary. We are both as in love as we were at the start. Our sex life too has evolved and changed over the years. We have the usual LTR issues surrounding sex, but we have good communication and both of us are more than happy. The reason for this post is due to a recent discovery I've made. Every now and then we set aside a day or evening for a special sexy time. This usually involves me dressing up in lingerie or outfits. It's long and drawn out. We may play video games, watch a film/TV, play games, etc., eventually leading to, essentially, him worshiping me. He loves my body and is a bit of a perv, but I can't stress this enough. I like it. It makes me feel good, helps with my self-esteem, and I must admit, it feels great. I'm always satisfied and I love the attention. Now, recently, I had to use his PC to sort out some photos I had on my phone because it's a lot more capable than my laptop. Whilst creating file destinations, etc., I came across a folder full of P0RN. It's not really an issue for me. We've never openly and directly discussed our P0RN use, but we have joked and both of us have come across each other's use of it, so no biggie. However, I realized that the entire collection was that of a specific actor/director, hundreds of scenes, and what was most upsetting is that the scenes tend to follow a certain sequence, and I realized that our special sexy time mirrored these scenes almost perfectly. The outfits, the worshipping, positions, sex acts, etc., you get the picture. We even one time bought a treadmill so he could watch me walk, and yep, that's in these scenes as well. Now I'm no prude, there was nothing in these scenes that upset me. It's all quite nice actually, nothing scary or too aggressive with a focus on the girl, but I can't help but feel a little disappointed, betrayed maybe. It feels a bit like the sexy time we had, that I thought was special to us, has been stolen from some P0RN director. On the other side, I don't want to stop doing this. Like I said, I enjoy it. Some of the things they do in these scenes I don't want to do at all, but there are other things we've never done but I'd like to try. The majority of the scenes have a focus on anal, which we do every so often when I'm in the mood, but it has intrigued me. What I'm asking this sub is, how do I talk to my husband about this? It's been a couple of days and I'm not as bothered by it as I was initially, but I also don't know how to bring it up that I know. I obviously found it by snooping and he's never told me about his collection and it's obviously private to him, which is fine. I don't want to embarrass him and I also don't want it to affect or stop our sexy times, but I would like to discuss it. Any ideas? Edit. Okay, so this picked up a lot more attention than I expected. I wanted to comment more, but there are a lot, so thank you all for your comments. First off, I've not spoken to him about it yet. I will most probably post an update when I have. I mentioned I found out a few days before this post and my feelings have changed a lot since then. Even more after reading your comments, it's changed my perspective considerably. To address a few things, I know I'm lucky to be so appreciated by my husband. I think our relationship is very balanced and healthy. This is just something that he likes to indulge in and I'm obviously more than happy to oblige. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a porn addiction, but I'll take the possibility into account. I wrote P0RN because I didn't know if there were filters on Reddit to block certain words, and also this is one way people wrote it on the internet back in the days of AOL and dial-up. Sorry, guess I was showing my age. Finally, with regards to the director, if I do an update I'll reveal who it is then. I'm not trying to be clickbaity, but one of the reasons for this post was because I sort of felt like my sex life was suddenly available to everyone when I saw these scenes, almost like an invasion of privacy. I know I'm just some anonymous person on the internet, but for me it took a lot of time to write this, seeking advice from strangers, and while my perspective has changed a lot, thanks to you guys, I'm still not comfortable revealing too much before I've spoken to my husband. If all goes well after the talk, then I apparently have a lot to thank this guy for. Relevant comments from OOP. Hi on Goofballs commented. Maybe it's kind of like him doing research. He looks at porn, and when he finds things he really likes, he saves them and acts them out. He's doing homework to keep you satisfied and find new things to do. Throw our aprons time replied. Yeah, I think this is the most likely explanation. I wish he had said something before, but I guess I wouldn't have been as into it if he just said, let's act out my favorite porn. Thanks for your input. I think you have some reversed logic in it. He does not want to do it with you because he finds it in porn. He searches for porn to see what he thinks may be interesting for you to do. Throw our aprons time replied. Yeah, I think that may be a more accurate way of looking at it. Although he's hardly researching, he's only got one director to go off. Booger Sugar Sovereign commented. Why does this make your time together less special if you enjoy it? If you found out the dinner he made for you was from a cookbook, or that he saw the same dinner being served in a movie and decided to make it for you, would that make the time he took to do something for you less significant? Don't get me wrong, this is funny as hell, but it sounds like he's also spending a lot of time appreciating you and paying attention to your needs during your sessions. He might be a little embarrassed, but since you don't have a negative attitude towards it, I'd say just bring it up. Maybe there are other things you would like to explore, whether or not those things are inspired by something one of you saw. Throw our aprons time replied. I guess it feels less special because he's never mentioned these scenes before, and something I thought was an expression of ourselves has just been copied from someone else. The dinner analogy is helpful though. Booger Sugar Sovereign commented again. I guess I just struggle with why it's important to you that he is creative. It sounds like he is kind, considerate, like spending time caring for you sexually, and doesn't use porn to replace you in whole or in part. If he isn't also a sexually creative person, why is that a problem? Everyone is going to have some faults, and this sounds like a relatively minor though very hilarious one. Throw our aprons time replied. I guess I thought that he was creative until I found out about the stash. I guess I'm not worried that he isn't creative, but more that I feel as if my whole special date night has been filmed hundreds of times with many different girls and can be downloaded the world over. Almost like an invasion of privacy, perhaps? Update, okay, update time, because lots of people asked for it. This is quite the wall of text, but I thought you'd like to know what happened. Obligatory apology for formatting. Disclaimer, I'm pretty sure my husband doesn't have a porn addiction, but I'll look out for it, I guess. This is his PC. We don't have any issues sharing our belongings and tech, etc., but he built this for gaming and it's his baby. I know sexy time is cringe, that's half the reason we use it, but it's specifically different from our normal sex life. It's an event, an occasion with time set aside for outfits, toys, and treadmills. So when I first discovered the collection, I didn't really have time to see what it was exactly like. After receiving some comments, I found time to do more research, and I'm now aware of how much I misrepresented the type of porn it contained. The director is called Mike Adriano. You guys called it. I must have been far too naive to think you guys wouldn't know who it was. I guess the treadmill gave it away. I'm obviously not going to go into the details. Google at your own risk. But after the short worshipping part, it's very hardcore. I'm interested in some of it, worshipping and some of the oral, but that's about it. The ratio of scenes is majorly skewed towards anal. I mentioned it in the OP, but anal is maybe, at best, a birthday treat, and those girls are goddamn athletes, and I've got a long way to go if I want to compete with that. I listened to all of your advice, and instead of showing him the post and have him think I was ambushing him, I took some advice from a PM that I received. I pretty much followed that format. I may show him the post eventually just for some clarity and context. Basically, at the weekend, I put on my gym clothes and we started a sexy day, normal chores, nice lunch, etc. He loves the tease and I enjoy the build-up. Like I said, he's a complete perv, so he was looking at me like I was food for most of the day. During the afternoon, in a non-sexual context, I brought up how much I love him and appreciate what we do during these days, and that whilst I used his PC, I found his folder. He was obviously shocked, surprised, and embarrassed. He was stuttering. It completely blindsided him, but once he realized I wasn't angry or upset with it, he was actually hugely relieved. The reason? It turns out he discovered this director about 10 years ago. We weren't living together at the time and were at university with lots of our own time, and he's collected all of this guy's material ever since. He likened it to waiting for the next episode of your favorite show to come out. He said that at the time it was a lot different from other porn and that it was all about the girl, showing her off, what she could do, you get the picture, and, like you guys said, he just liked the style. He's a self-confessed ass man, and he's been collecting it ever since, and although he doesn't use it so much personally anymore, he does still keep collecting. Apparently, because he's had this collection for so long, he's always been worried about me finding it and essentially having it ruin our relationship. As there was no way I was going to let this ruin what we had, I was supportive and reassured him, and as soon as he realized that wasn't the case, he almost burst into tears. After this tension was over, we just talked. I asked about how it had been carried into our own sex life, and, essentially, he explained that it had never really been his sole intention, although he's obviously not unhappy with the result. He'd always liked me wearing lingerie and outfits, etc., and has bought stuff like that for me for years, and over time, he replaced the porn with our sessions. Which, at the time of discovery, I thought was a problem, but with reflection I've realized it isn't. Like I said, I enjoyed it as much as him. He's basically living out his entire fantasy every time we do this, which was hugely reassuring for me. After chilling out for a bit and just doing normal dinner things and getting over the stress related to such an intense and emotional conversation, we settled into our normal sexy routine, dressed up, were down, haha, some drinks and a few rounds of Wii bowling, his favorite, except, afterwards, I suggested we watch some of these scenes. He was again shocked, and I worried if he actually wanted to keep it private for himself, which I was entirely prepared for, but it turns out he was just a bit embarrassed, which again, you guys called. We sat down and he showed me the entire collection. Turns out, I had only seen my husband's favorite folder. The entire collection is substantial. I had no idea. I found the ones my husband really likes, and I realized that all the girls were different, sizes / shapes / hair color / style, etc., and that it was what these girls did in the scenes that he enjoyed. Personally, this was really encouraging for me because while I know I'm in good shape, what girl doesn't worry if she'll measure up against some porn star? Like I said, the collection is big, and I was completely ignorant to how hardcore it was, as in lots of anal. After silently worrying about it, I asked my husband if that's what he wanted. Turns out he would like more, but is happy for me to lead that one. Thank God. Apparently it was more the willingness portrayed by the girls being eager to do that stuff that he liked. He would like to go down on me more, which I struggle with sometimes because I've always been a bit self-conscious of it. Luckily, my husband is understanding and is happy for me to call the shots with that. We've mutually agreed to buy a collection of toys and try them out too. Anyway, long story short, and probably TMI, we picked a scene we both liked and we got to it. I was intrigued when I first found it, and one of these bits was the oral, which I'm not too good at, have a terrible gag reflex, and I get a sore jaw. I tried my best, but think I need more practice, which I'm sure won't bother him, lol. Those girls make it look so easy, and we've agreed to try some other things in future at my own pace. I made sure he had realistic expectations of this progress, and he didn't expect me to become a porn star overnight. So it turns out I didn't need to be worried about anything, like you guys said, and I've got over all the shock and emotions I had when I first found it. It's basically his biggest fantasy, and I'm now at the center of it, which is why he doesn't use it by himself as much. He's told me he's living his best life. So thanks everyone for your help and making me realize it wasn't a big deal in the first place. I've also got over the fact that people can watch this stuff and I don't have to be embarrassed that we do the same thing. After all, someone out there is doing this stuff, and worse, behind closed doors. I just never imagined it would be me. I guess I should also say thank you to Mike Adriano, GOAT apparently, and of course all the girls, the real heroes, for providing the inspiration and enabling my husband to be the total pervert I've known and loved for 12 years. TLDR, we're keeping the treadmill.